Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. A very good evening to all the devotees and participants who have again assembled with us on this Sunday evening for the Prerana Festival. We welcome all of you. So today is our 27th Prerana Festival conducted by ISKCON Cultural Center and IYF South Bangalore. And it happens to be the 12th online Prerana Festival during this Corona lockdown period. So I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the participants, the IYF South Bangalore team and ICC Jagannath Mandir. Because of all of your efforts, we have reached this stage where we have had around 12 online Prerana festivals during the Corona lockdown. Hare Krishna, it also gives me immense pleasure to announce about the Gita Course 3, which has been very regularly going on, and devotees have been taking full benefit of the Gita course. So this announcement is for those participants who are new to our Prerana program. So today's Prerana program happens every Sunday around 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m., where we have discussions based on the Vedic scriptures such as Ramayana, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. So I would request those devotees who are new to this program to kindly join the Prerana chat group on WhatsApp. The link to this will be put into the chat box right after I introduce the speaker. So I request all the devotees to join the group. So today's topic is the black god is what really matters. Sorry, the black god is what really matters. So to shed more light on this topic, we have with us a very special speaker. I would like to introduce him now. We have with us Sanbaran Sengupta Prabhu. Prabhuji is a pass out from West Bengal Institute of Technology. He has completed his BTech in Electronics and Communication. So Prabhuji has been the topper of his college. Prabhuji is working as a full stack developer and a technical manager. He has a total corporate experience of about 10 years. Prabhuji has completed his executive general management program from IIM Bangalore. Prabhuji was introduced to Krishna consciousness in the year 2007 and has undergone rigorous spiritual training ever since. Prabhuji has studied the scriptures like Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and also completed the Bhakti Shastri course, which is a full-time course on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Prabhuji has conducted spiritual training programs like Discover Yourself, Positive Thinker, Self-Manager, Proactive Leader, and Personality Development in various colleges such as NIT Surathkal, BMS College, Bangalore, RV College of Engineering, RNSIT College, and many more. Prabhuji is also acting as an active spiritual mentor and trainer in ICC Jagannath Mandir. We are very fortunate to have you with us, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Now I'd like Sanbaran Prabhu to
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Can everyone hear me? Hare Krishna. Kanakru, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji, you are audible.
Okay.
You are audible.
So we can get started?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Hare Krishna, everyone. Good evening. I'm very, very happy and honored and fortunate to have got this opportunity to connect with you all. And what can be a better way to spend a Sunday evening than discussing the words of wisdom from holy scriptures like Bhagavad Gita with so many of you interested participants. So I'm very, very excited and happy to be with all of you for the time to come for next 1.5 hours. I hope my voice is loud and clear. Let me know if I go too fast or if my voice is not clear or if I'm breaking up. Please let me know. In case there are any issues with the internet connection, we'll attend to that. So before we start the topic, I know all of you heard about me, but I'm sorry I don't know all of you because maybe this is one of the first time that I'm meeting many of you here. So one thing that I want to request all of you is we want to keep this session as interactive as possible. I know when we used to have our prernas in our temple, I used to see 50, 100 boys, students sitting in front of me, and I could look at their faces and I could point out to somebody and ask specific questions and communicate very personally. But now, because we are under lockdown, it is very difficult because I'm just looking at my laptop. I don't see any of you. So first request from my side, if possible, if you're in a proper place and if you're comfortable with it, can we all for once turn on our videos and see each other? I would like to see all of you present today. Is that possible? Yes, I see a lot of videos coming up. Yes. Okay. Hare Krishna. Yes. Thank you. I see Ashutosh, Kedar, Satya. I see Arshab, Amit. I see Divya, Subhashini, Badrinath Raju. Yes. Ashok. Yes, I can see many of you. Who else? Sitaram, Ravi Teja. Okay. Avinash, Avanish. Sorry, Avanish Rastav. Hello. Good evening. Very happy to see all of you. So my next question to all of you, and I would request throughout my sessions, I would be asking questions. It might not be possible for everyone to unmute and start speaking, but I would request, please respond on the chat. So to do that, my first question is there anyone who's attending Prerana for the first time? You can mention as 0 if you're attending first time, and if it is not first time, you can respond by typing a 1. Okay, so I see all zeros and ones coming. Okay, good. Okay, keep it coming. Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah, there are many of you who are joining us for the first time. Nice to see you. I see Ravi Teja for the first time. Welcome, Ravi Teja. Kedar, I see I've attended before. Amit, thank you for attending before. Badrinath Raju, I see I've attended before. Yes, Divya, welcome for the first time. Okay. Jay, thank you so much. You can turn off your videos and we'll communicate this way through the chat. So I see it's a mixed crowd where many of you are for the first time and many of you have attended Prernas before. My next question to you is if you know chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and if you're already chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, can you please let me know how many rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra are you chanting every day, if you are chanting? So you can write in the chat the number of rounds that you're chanting. Okay, Rahul says 4 rounds, Satya says 4 rounds. Okay, nice. Ashutosh 4 rounds. Pavan 8 rounds. Good. Okay. Kedar is chanting 2 rounds. Subhashini 5. Arsha 3 rounds. Very nice. I'm very encouraged to see all of you are ready and responding on the chat. Very good. Gunjan 6 rounds. Okay. So that's a wonderful feeling. Many of us are already chanting and know the process of Krishna consciousness. So that's very good. Good. I was very happy to have a brief or a very high level introduction with all of you. So we'll start our topic now. I'll share my screen and you let me know if that's visible. So let me share. Okay, so hope you are all able to see this. Kanak Prabhu, are you able to see? Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji, it is clear.
Okay. So let's get started, my dear friends. So when I was asked, so before I get into the topic, let's start with our standard prayers that we start with in every program. So prayer is chanted to invoke auspiciousness, so that our discussion is fruitful, our discussion helps us. Okay, so we'll start with prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Shagana Raghunatham Tam Tam Sajivam Advaitam Savdhutam Parijanasetam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Shagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Nitamscha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशकारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतुषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये पंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीचैतन्येश्वर। Hare Krishna. So, as you can see, we have a very interesting topic today, and the topic is the black god is what really matters. And I know once you saw this topic, there might be many questions arising in your mind. Many of you might have guessed because I kind of designed the poster with all these hands of different color with Krishna at the center to give some sense of what we are going to discuss. However, there are many important and in-depth lessons that we will cover today. But just to mention why I chose this topic or why I came up with this topic, many of you are aware that currently during recent times we are facing lots of difficulties, lots of challenges and various kinds of problems. And one prominent problem that we saw recently came in form of a huge protest against racism. So if you're aware of the news, few days ago in a place called Minnesota, in Minneapolis, in US, there was a person named George Floyd who got killed in police custody. And what followed was mass demonstrations, violent protests, riots, burning down of public places, and various agitations, not only in US, in various parts of US, obviously, and also in Europe. And the reason was people were protesting against racism because the person who was killed was a black man, African American, and people came out in the streets claiming that African Americans have always been judged upon, have faced racist slurs, have been subject of discrimination based on their body's color. And my dear friends, as you would know, this is not something new. This has been going on for a long, long time. Even if you see from the social civil rights movement by Martin Luther King, you know, that's a long time ago, but still this fight is going on. And we saw recently how everybody responded to it in a different way. We saw many sports stars and movie stars express their support through the hashtag Black Lives Matter. And that's where I started thinking that you say Black Lives Matter, obviously Black Lives Matter. And that's the issue, that's the concern that's going on. Yes. And that's where I started thinking, well, Black Lives Matter, but just Black lives doesn't matter. There are many things that matter, isn't it? There are many such topics which are being debated upon. There are many turmoils across the world, and we'll take many examples as such. So let's think, I started thinking, there are different things that matter. What all matters? Some people say white lives matter. Some people say black lives matter. Some say Indians matter. And there are other group which tells the Chinese matter. We know there's a lot of conflict that's going on, and there's a lot of debate that we should, mm, uh, boycott Chinese goods and all that. So yes, there are these two topics going on: Indians matter, Chinese matter. Some people say only men matter; those are egoistic. Where there are other groups who tell women equally matter. Some people say elephants matter. We saw a recent case which was very pathetic, very sad. What we can say, an extreme act of a terrible act of killing an elephant happened in Kerala. So yeah, some people say elephants matter, and there was a lot of uprising and protest against that. Some people say dogs matter. Some people say cows matter. The environmentalists are telling trees matter. There are people who are trying to uplift the poor who tells the poor matters. And there are the rich who tells rich matters. Yes. We see politicians who are always using their power and taking tough decisions and playing an important role in our lives. They say politicians matter. And on the same way, the army matters, who, on the words of the politicians, are laying down their lives. So the army matters as well. The higher caste matters. The Dalits matter. Hindus matter. Muslims matter. Innumerable such conflicting topics go on, and different groups of people keep fighting for their own agenda. But question really comes, can't there be a peaceful coexistence? Can't there be unity in diversity? Because throughout the world, we see a huge amount of diversity. Various people from various backgrounds, from different skin colors, from different types of births, speaking different languages, practicing different religions, uh, different species. Why just humans? Different species across the world. There is enough diversity, my dear friends, in this world. But the important question is, can't there be unity? Can't there be a time when people won't have to fight for equal rights? Yes, we see fights are going on forever. Yes. So why can't there be a time when people don't have to fight for equal rights? The environmentalists do not have to fight for the environment. The the PETA or the animal activists, they do not have to fight for rights of animals. You know, the lower castes do not have to fight for an equal position in the society. Different races do not have to fight for equal rights. Can there be a time like that possible? Have we ever seen such a society where there is unity in diversity? Just see, my dear friends, I have designed this slide after a lot of thoughts, and you might see how does this slide look? Doesn't it look very clumsy with lots of circles intersecting each other, and there is disharmony? Yes, the slide looks like so many conflicts, is it not? You know, every time we focus on one circle, we see there are intersections with other circles. If you could see this, you know, so each circle has lots of intersecting points. Everywhere there are intersections which depict conflicts, which depict fights and rivalry whenever there is focus on only one circle. And because these all circles try to parallelly exist, fight for equality, there are lots of conflict with each other, a lot of intersections. So this slide represents the current situation in the society. It shows how there is chaos. Although everybody wants equality, everybody wants equal rights, but still there are intersections, there are conflicts. Today's discussion, we want to understand, we want to learn how to create a society, how to create an organization, or let's say how to live our lives in a way by which we can see everybody as equal, we can respect everybody as equal, we can deal with everybody in a way as if I would love to be dealt with. So let's first take an example. We have a glorious, glaring example of unity in diversity. And my dear friends, after the example that I'm talking about, I'm going to play a video on it. Okay, so I'm going to play a video and there would be a quiz following the video. So I would ask you a few questions from the video to really make sure that all of us are taking the right lessons home. Okay, so I would request all of you to kindly be very, very attentive and focus on the video so that when the questions come, you can answer correctly and we can all learn the right lessons. Okay, so are you all focused? Okay, so let's start the video. The video has many important topics in it and I have designed few questions. So after this slide, we'll be asking those questions and I will let you answer on the chat window. Is that okay? Okay. Just a moment. So let's watch this.
I'm Reed Collins. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. I'm Reed Collins. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. A hypnotic rhythmic chant of 16 words has replaced LSD and other drugs for some in New York's East Village. On 2nd Avenue and 1st Street is a storefront in which a Swami has set up shop. There, his American disciples are learning about Krishna consciousness.
Someone told you the story, you wouldn't believe it. Here he is. He's 70 years old. He has no money. He has no contacts. He has none of the things that makes for success. He's starting an effort, and it turns into an international movement.
I want to bring a revolution against materialistic civilization. That is my ambition, so that the whole world may be happy.
Prabhupada came to America in an extraordinary time.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper.
Everyone was questioning. Everyone was searching for a better way of life.
Turn on, tune in, drop out.
Timothy Leary came along with the drug bandwagon, but that wasn't good enough. We wanted an alternate reality that wasn't drug-induced.
And suddenly this new force from the East was coming in. People began to look towards India.
There was a sense in us that the ancients knew something, that there was a goodness inherent in men, and there was a wisdom.
So Prabhupada got here right at that historical moment in time. He walked right into the middle of it.
He was such a curiosity. I mean, just to look at him was just an amazement. Wow.
He was a person that seemed to be experiencing a state of happiness that came from some place that they knew nothing about and never had any access to. And so they were intrigued.
He says this movement is meant to bring about a revolution in the life of a misdirected civilization.
Prabhupada brought forward the great culture and the great teachings of those who came before him.
Everyone is thinking, I'm American, I'm Indian, I'm European, I'm Australian, but I'm not this body. I am spirit soul.
If I see this person, this soul, struggling just like I'm struggling in my body, then all of a sudden we're family. And I have a reason to love you. That's deep.
He challenged the very premise of our material life. And for many of us, that was exactly what we needed to hear.
Our mission is to see everyone become happy. We don't want to see that we exploit somebody else and I become happy. No. We want to see everyone happy, but they do not know how to become happy.
Okay, so did you all like this video? Yes? So all of you who like this video can type a yes in the chat, because if you have attended, if you have been attentive, you would be able to answer all the questions that come up in the quiz. Okay, so you're ready for the quiz, right? Okay, I see all the yeses coming in. Thank you so much for your response. Let's start the quiz. Okay. How do I see the chat at the same time? Okay. Okay, so my first question to all of you is, who is Srila Prabhupada? Can you all see the questions? Can you all see the question on the slide? You all can answer?
Yes, Prabhuji. Question is visible.
Okay. Yes, I see all the answers coming in. Beautiful. The person who spread Krishna consciousness throughout the world, founder Acharya of ISKCON, the pure devotee of Lord Krishna, and he's the one who started the Hare Krishna movement. Very right. All of you are giving all wonderful, perfect questions. Founder of ISKCON, yes. Founder Acharya of ISKCON, yes. The devotee of Krishna, surely. He is the person who founded ISKCON, spread Mahamantra. Very good. Wonderful questions coming in. Answer to the questions coming in. Yes. Someone says he was the guru. Yes. Wonderful, wonderful. So all of you are right. Very, very much right. My next question. What is the name of the movement that he started? Yes, what is the full name of the movement that he started? Hare Krishna movement. Yes, that was what it was called when it started in the West. What is the current name? What is the current name of the movement, his organization? Can someone tell what is the full form? Yes, somebody wrote ISKCON. Yes. Okay, Satya, thank you so much. You got the first right answer to this question. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness, or ISKCON. Correct. So many of you are correct. Yes, yes, very nice. Thank you so much for the wonderful answers. We'll go to the next question. What is the Mahamantra that he taught all of us? Yes, what is the Mahamantra? Who can type in the whole mantra? Yes, Gunjan, thank you so much. Yes. Subhashini, yes, thank you. Divya, thank you so much for writing down the whole Mahamantra. Good. Hare Krishna Mahamantra, correct. So Srila Prabhupada, he started the movement ISKCON and he taught us to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So all of you are right. Thank you so much. And thank you for being so enthusiastic in participation. My next question from the video, and let me see who all spot this correctly. In which year did Srila Prabhupada travel to the West? Yes, all of you are so well tuned and perfect and so attentive. I'm amazed to see all right answers coming in. 1965, yes, Srila Prabhupada at the an advanced age of 69, he boarded the Jaladuta, the ship from Calcutta in West Bengal, and he traveled all the way on a 30-day voyage over the Atlantic Ocean and reached US in the year 1965. And for your information, he officially formed International Society for Krishna Consciousness ISKCON in the year 1966. Now, my main question and the last question, which is the most important question, and it's our lead to further slides today. Srila Prabhupada gives us a very important message in the video. What is that message? And yes, so Srila Prabhupada speaks twice in the video, and the first time is something that he gives us very important, which helps us understand how we can all get united. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Pawan, thank you so much. Very wonderful. We are not the soul, we are all spirit soul, not American, European. Very good. Gunjan, Amit, we are all soul. Very good. Badrinath Raju, we are all the souls and not the body. Yes, we are all very true and very correct. And I'm very thankful to you for being attentive in the video. So yes, my dear friends, that is one important teaching that Srila Prabhupada gives. And we see how he has set an example. Srila Prabhupada in the video tells very loudly and prominently. He tells, everyone is thinking, I'm American, I'm Indian, I'm European, I am Australian, but I am not this body, I am spirit soul. And those of you who have been following Srila Prabhupada, who have been reading his books and listening to his lectures, you would see that this is one theme, one important teaching that he repeats again and again in almost all the places. And many of us wonder that why is he telling this again and again? And my dear friends, although it's repeated so many times, we fail to notice that this is the mantra which he used to create a society where there is perfect unity in diversity. When Srila Prabhupada was small, his father Gaur Mahande, he approached the astrologers and got his Srila Prabhupada's horoscope done. And the astrologer very wonderfully predicted that he is a great personality, he's a great man. And towards the end of his life, when he is old, he will create a home in which the whole world can stay. And my dear friends, that came true, very true, that Srila Prabhupada created this organization, ISKCON, which is such an organization where you see during Prabhupada's times when he was on this planet alive, he traveled 14 times across the globe and set up 108 temples, not just in US, not just in Europe, but in all the continents. He established temples in Africa, US, Europe, name a place, Russia, everywhere centers were opened under Srila Prabhupada's teachings. And it was possible for all his disciples who came from various castes, colors, creed, nationalities, religion, it was possible for all of them to work together unifiedly, only because Srila Prabhupada taught this essential lesson, which is, I am not the body, I am the spirit soul. So my dear friends, let us take some time to understand the concept of spirit soul from the Holy Scriptures. And this concept, why we should learn, we understood that this was the secret of Srila Prabhupada. So let us learn from the Holy Scriptures. To start with, let's look into Bhagavad Gita. There are innumerable verses in Bhagavad Gita, 700 shlokas, but I have taken two important verses in the second chapter where Krishna is talking to Arjuna, who is very confused and he is thinking whether he should fight the war or not. And these are the very important verses which Krishna tells to explain the concept of spirit soul, to explain to us that we are not this body which is changing, which is temporary, which is dull, which has no life, but we are spirit souls, which is eternal, full of light. It is light and it is indestructible, immortal, far superior material than the dull bodies. So all of you can try to repeat after me, although all of you are in mute. I'm sorry for that, but all of you can repeat these two wonderful verses from Bhagavad Gita. I will chant and you can try to follow. Bhagavad Gita 2.13 tells, Dehinasmin yatha dehe Kumaram yovanam jara Tatha dehantara praptir Dhirastatra namuyate. We'll come to the translations. So, this verse, Bhagavad Gita 2.13 tells, the translation is as follows. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. And Bhagavad Gita 2.22 is a wonderful, beautiful verse. All of you can chant with me wherever you are, although you're on mute, it's fine, but you can try to follow. Vasam sijirnani yatha vihaya navani grihnati naro purani vatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. This verse, the translation goes as follows. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. So my dear friends, these are the two powerful verses that makes us start or ponder into or get into the understanding of the concept of soul. And my dear friends, it's not very difficult to understand. In the next, let us take a graphical example. So all of us have this experience. I'm sure you would agree to this. Do you have this experience? Yes? So yes, we all grow from youthhood to boyhood to manhood or womanhood. Then we grow and grow older. Yes. So it's not very difficult to understand these simple points. Many of you who were, when you were small, you would remember or you would have your photos, and you would understand that you were looking totally different than what you're looking now. Is it not? Yes. So that's what these verses are telling. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes from one body to another at death. So those of you who would remember or who would have photos of your childhood, you would remember that the body was totally different than what it is now. Yes. And all of you are grown up. And it is not that your parents were your parents were looking at you when you were small, and now that you have grown up and they start crying that, oh, where is my child gone? He is no more. No, they are happy with you as you are now, even as a grown up. So based on biological facts, it is said the rate at which the cells divide in our body, every 7 years, the whole body gets replaced. So every 7 years, we get a new body. Yes. So does that mean that we are different people? No. Although we are changing different bodies, as soul, as spirit soul, we are all the same spiritual beings, the real identity which is existing inside this body. And this is a very basic building block of the spiritual training, the basics of Bhagavad Gita. It starts with the concept of soul. It tells we are all spirit soul. The second verse tells, just like if the shirt gets torn, I just open it off, throw it, and wear another shirt. Similarly, the spirit soul, which is eternal, has been staying in this body. And when this body becomes old and torn and tattered and shattered, it's a good time for it to give it up and take up another one. So it's very simple to understand. There are many examples. For example, just like a cage and a bird. So if you like pets, and if you have pet bird, let's say you keep the pet bird in the cage. So what is more important? Is the cage more important or the bird more important? Yes. So we understand that more important in the cage is the bird. Yes. Now we may spend whole lot of time polishing the cage and just making sure that it is clean and shining, but we don't feed the bird, then what happens? The bird eventually dies. So that's what has been happening, my dear friends. And as I said, it's not a difficult concept to understand. Just as all of us, we keep changing bodies even in this lifetime, although we stay the same. Yes. So that's our real identity. All of us, everything that is living in this world, in any species, whether that be trees, animals, human beings, or any species in between, everything living, the reason being behind everything living is the soul. So let us spend some time, let's say 5-10 minutes now, to understand various characteristics of the soul. And I've taken lots of snapshots from various scriptures to learn different characteristics of the soul. To start with, Shvetashvara Upanishad confirms the size, the dimensions of the soul. It says, Balagra Satabhagasya Satada Kalpitasya Cha Bhagujivasa Vigyaya Sachanantayah Kalpate. Which means when the upper point of a hair is divided into 100 parts, and again each of such parts is further divided into 100 parts, each such part is the measurement of the dimension of the spirit soul, which tells that Spirit souls are minute, infinitesimal, very small in size. So that's one characteristic of the soul. Going forward, we come back to Bhagavad Gita, where in the same flow, second chapter, Krishna tells that those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. Now see how important Krishna is giving us a clear difference between the material body and the soul. So Srila Prabhupada, when he was in the Western countries, he used to challenge the scientists, telling that, oh, dear scientists, you tell that we are all a bag of chemicals, and we are made up of sodium, potassium, calcium, protein structures, and vitamins and minerals. Yes, if that is true, if that is all in all, then, oh my dear scientist, please tell me what is the difference between a living body and a dead body. And Srila Prabhupada used to go and challenge all the scientific minded people. And he would say, if you don't know the answer, then why don't you have a department to research on it? Why don't you research on what is the difference between a living body and a dead body? Yes. And Srila Prabhupada used to say, see, the dead body is lying. It has the same chemicals, same chemical combination as the living body. If you say that it is just a bag of chemicals, then according to you, the difference between living body and dead body would be some difference of chemicals. So why don't you just inject those chemicals in the dead body and make it alive again? Can you do that? And Srila Prabhupada is to challenge. So he used to quite strongly prove in this way that the body and the soul is totally different. It's just that the existence of the soul in the material body, which makes it alive, which makes it lively, which makes it function in a different way. You all have experienced, my dear friends. Let's say this body, yes, although it's heavy, let's say my weight is 75, 80, I can stand up, I can jump, I can lay down, I can do all those activities. I can jump very easily now, currently, isn't it? Let's imagine a very fat boy, like this, hefty, and he also can jump with his hefty body. But what happens? Let's say I die now. What would happen? You would need 4 people to carry me. What to speak of jumping in the air? The body would never jump in the air. It would need 4 people to hold on the kanda, on the shoulder, to carry the dead body. So just see how different is the material body when the soul is present and when the soul is not present. So going ahead, learning more verses, these are various properties or characteristics of the soul that Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita. He tells, that which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. Yes. So we understand that as spirit souls, we are imperishable. There is no way to destroy the soul. Yes. The body is destructible. It is dull matter. It takes birth, it grows, it reproduces, it dwindles, and finally it perishes. That's the nature of the material body. That's the nature of any matter if you take. But when it comes to living matter, living body, because of presence of the soul, the body grows, it procreates, it dwindles for some time, becomes old, and then finally perishes. But however, the soul being the superior, not like dull matter, it's imperishable. Yes. Mundaka Upanishad tells something very similar, because it tells the soul is atomic in size and can be perceived by perfect intelligence. This atomic soul is floating in the 5 kinds of air: prana, apana, vyana, Samana and Udana is situated within the heart. So this verse exactly gives where the soul is situated. It is situated within the heart and spreads its influence all over the body of the embodied living entities. When the soul is purified from the contamination of 5 kinds of material air, its spiritual influence is exhibited. Yes. So this gives precisely a very nice example of where the soul exists, and how, although the soul exists in the body, the consciousness or the influence of the soul pervades, impermeates throughout the whole body. For example, if somebody pinches the tip of my finger, I can feel it. Yes. Somebody slaps me, I can feel it. Any part of the body, the mosquito is biting, immediately, without much effort, without even knowing at times, our hand goes immediately, isn't it? That is the proof of consciousness. Does it happen with the dead body? No matter you cut, no matter you do whatever with the dead body, nothing happens. So the consciousness is the proof of existence of soul. It proves that we are not the dull body of the soul. Yes. And this verse tells where it exists, in the region of the heart. Then further characteristics of the soul. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. A wonderful, powerful verse from Bhagavad Gita. I would request all of you to, whenever you have time, go through all these verses sequentially of Bhagavad Gita, which are very powerful. See, Krishna is telling one of the very famous verses. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin, nayam bhutva bhavita na bhavyaha, ajo nitya shashvato yam purano, na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Which means, for the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. So Krishna tells it clearly that with death, the soul doesn't die. The soul moves on, like changing a shirt. Yes. Further, Krishna tells, the soul can never be cut into pieces, nayanam chindanti shastrani, by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble and can neither be burned or dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. So, my dear friends, thus we understand, when we get into the depths and realize that all of us, you, me, the people of other countries, the enemy countries, the countries where people have a different skin color, everybody, the dog outside on the street, any animal you take, every body has the real identity, which is spirit soul. Does this not inspire us? Does this not make us wise enough to see everybody on an equal platform? What do you think? The Bhagavad Gita tells, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Suni Chaiva Swapakecha Pandita Samadarshinaha. Which means, by the dint of this knowledge, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, the dint of this knowledge, knowledgeable persons, what do they do? Brahmane Gavihastini, Brahmane, on the Brahmanas, or the holy souls, the holy people, Gavi, cows, Hastini, elephants, Brahmane Gavihastini, Suni Chaiva Swapakecha. Suni means dog, Swapaka means the dog eater, or the Chandala, or the very lower caste. Suni Pandita Samadarshinaha. Yes. So, thus, one becomes very intelligent Pandita and is able to see everybody equally with an equal vision when one gets this knowledge, the knowledge of spirit soul. Yes. Now here we come to an understanding and to a point. Are you all clear? Are you all agreeing to this point, that the knowledge of the soul helps us immediately transcend all the differences at the bodily level? Most of the differences that we face, those are all because of the bodily differences. Somebody is black in color, somebody is brown in color. We are Indians, we are brown in color. The Mongolian race are yellow, the Westerners are white. But these are all bodily. And thus we understand what Srila Prabhupada was telling. Everybody is thinking, I am American, I am Indian, I am European, I am Australian. But we are not so. We are all spirit souls. So any questions so far, or we can go? We are going at a good speed, or you want me to go slower? Because this concept, the first part of our presentation is important, and I want to make sure that all of you are in line. So you can type a yes if you are okay with it, or if you have any questions. Okay. Thank you. Whenever I see your responses, I feel so happy. Pavan, Ashutosh, Amit, Ashraf, Kedar, Surya, thank you so much. I saw all of you responding. Thank you so much. So we'll go ahead with this. Now, this is not all in all. The important part we are getting into, because the topic is something different that I talked about. I was talking about black god and all, and I'm talking something different here. But this is something, a building block for our knowledge ahead. So going forward, once we understand that we are all spirit souls, part and parcel of Krishna, that part of the knowledge is important. So the question comes that although we understand we are all spirit souls and we can see everybody equally, how is it possible that we all stay united and work together? Because even though we are spirit soul, we have our bodies to deal with. We have our bodies which we use to interact with each other. We have differences. So how can we stay united? Although I know theoretically by philosophy that yes, you are soul, I am soul. But what is that knowledge which would convince me, which would force me to make sure that I stay united no matter what bodily differences are? So we'll hear a story next. So all of you like stories? Yes? So we'll get into a nice story here, a funny story actually. So the question here is, what is that one solution that solves all other problems? So we have to focus on, ek tir mein do shikar, we say that. So what is that one solution that can solve all those circles that we had drawn in the second slide, third slide? We had so many circles, so many problems to deal with. Can there be one solution to solve all the problems? So we'll get to know that once we hear this story. So it's story time, and the story is called Senses Go on Strike. Now, many of you might have heard this. It would be a refresher for them. For those of you who are first time here, I am sure you would find this interesting. So what happened? The story goes like this. One day, all the senses came together and they got into a discussion. So all the senses were speaking that we are working so hard. We are working day and night so hard for food. We're working so hard for the food. So the eyes said, you see, I help to see the food, to identify what is food and where it is lying. So I work so hard whole day searching for food. And the legs tell, oh, my job is the most difficult and I am the most important. Although you see the food, but I have to walk. I have to take the whole body and go near the food so that it can be eaten. And the ears tell, no, first I have to hear. Without hearing, there is no work that can be done. Food cannot be accumulated. Work cannot be done. You can't earn money. So I hear about the food. I hear the descriptions. I hear the ways to cook. So I am important and I'm working hard. And the mouth tells, yeah, no matter you see it or you go close to it or you hear about it, but I am the person who has to taste the food, chew the food, work so hard, chew the food and swallow it. Yes. So I am important and I'm working so hard whole day. Sometimes people eat 3 times a day. Sometimes people eat 5 times a day. And whole day practically I'm working. And the hand says, well, you all are important, but what if I don't lift the food and I don't put the food in the mouth? So my function is also very important. I go, whenever you go to close to food, I pick the food and put into the mouth. So my role is also important. And most importantly, I am the person who is cooking the food at home. Yes. So the hand is used actively in cooking. So the hand tells I am very important in this activity of eating. And the nose tells, oh, what if you have a running nose? What if you have a cold? You don't feel any taste. You don't feel like eating at all. So my function is very important. Even when you're cooking, you need to take the smell to understand how the flavor is coming up, how different flavors mix. When you're eating, I give the sense of smell, which helps you relish the food. So I am important. And all the senses were thus discussing. And they realized that yes, everybody is important. Everybody is doing something. Everybody is working hard. But they came to an understanding that there is one person who's not doing anything. Manapru, you want to say something?
No, Prabhuji.
Okay. So, continuing with our story, they all observed that there's a fellow sitting there just enjoying, doing nothing to get the food. Any guesses who's that? Any guesses who's that? Who's that person who is doing nothing? Yes, all of you are very intelligent and you know the answer. That's this guy. He's just sitting inside at the center and he's just eating, getting all the food. So the senses become infuriated, very angry, and tell, why should we work so hard only? And this fellow should just sit and enjoy? We will not work. On this day, we all go on strike. And all the senses unanimously decide that they will not work. So the eyes close, the legs tell, I'll not walk, the hands tell, I'll not cook or pick up food. The ears say, oh, I'm not going to hear anything about food. And the mouth says, I'm fasting. No more putting food into mouth and chewing. And the nose says, okay, damn, I'm not smelling any good food. Let's see what happens. We want equal rights. We can't say that the stomach would sit and just enjoy. Yes. Then what happens? Day 1, day 2, day 3, and all the senses are just shaking out of weakness, falling apart. The eyes are not, many of you, if you have experience of fasting, recently we had our Pandav Nirjal Ekadasi. We did a whole day fasting without food and water. And so practically after that, the whole body feels like not working and not being able to move even an inch. The legs are shaking. The nose practically has no sense. Hands are shaking. Eyes are feeling very sleepy. The ears not interested to hear anything. Yes, the mouth is weak, cannot feel the taste. So what happened, my dear friends? Why did the senses fail? They realized that if they don't put the food in the stomach, they would dry up, they would become weak, they would fail to work, perform, or even survive. Why? Because the stomach is the source of the nourishment. The stomach is the source. The The stomach's function is to give them energy by which they function, by which they work. So if they go on strike and they don't decide to continue their service of putting food in the stomach, eventually they would dry up and fail. So what do we learn from this? Any guesses? Any answers? Let me look at the chat. Anybody would like to try? What do we learn from this story? Any answers on the chat? What is the lesson that we learn from this story in today's context? What is the analogy that we are trying to understand here? Yes, any answers in the chat? Okay, Divya is telling unity is important. Okay, any other answers? We should learn to work together for the pleasure of Lord. Very nice answer. If we don't feed the soul, body is useless. Wow, very nice. We should feed the soul. Okay. Everything has a value and unity is important. Okay. Good, good. Okay. Okay. Good. So all of you are almost on the point. The main lesson that we learn here is that just as the senses became weak and starved by not serving food to the stomach, we as spirit souls starve and become weak and disunited and forgetful when we forget our source, our object of our service. So that's the analogy. So all the senses work together to serve the whole. The part works together for the service of the whole. And that's how the part gets nourishment. So similarly, this point, we have to understand not just we are spirit souls, but we are part and parcel of Krishna. And that's what makes the understanding complete. So when we ask who is as spirit souls, that's the important question. And the obvious question, who is the source and object of service for all spirit souls? So as parts, we cannot function independently, just like the senses cannot function independently. We have to serve the whole together. So we have to know who is the source, who is the object of service. Let's try to find that answer. And in Bhagavad Gita, we have been discussing Krishna is referred to as Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the speaker of Bhagavad Gita. So whenever Krishna, those of you have read Bhagavad Gita, you see it starts as Sri Bhagavan Vacha when Krishna speaks. So Krishna is referred to as Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita two very important verses. He tells in 15.7, Mamaivansho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha manaha sashtani indriyani prakritistani karshate. Which means the living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. So Krishna tells Mamaivansho, which means the living entities, the spirit souls are mine, part and parcel. And my dear friends, in this verse, we see Krishna's love pouring out for all of us, because he tells all of you, O spirit souls, those who are struggling with this material body, these six senses, you are my children, you are my part and parcel. And this connection is important. Yes. This is the very important and vital point, my dear friends. Today, you would see in the social media, there are messages going on Happy Father's Day. From this verse, we get to know that Krishna is our supreme loving Father. He is the originator. So when we understand we are all spirit souls, from this verse we understand we are part and parcel of Krishna. We are children of Krishna. We have been produced created. Krishna is the creator. He's our father. Yes. So it's a good occasion that on Father's Day we acknowledge the role of the Supreme Father in our existence. Yes. Many of you would have parents who have fathers. Today you are calling them up and thanking them and acknowledging for all that they have done for us. It's a good opportunity for us also to thank the Supreme Lord, who is so loving Father for all of us. He has done everything, although we don't always acknowledge that He even exists. There are many people who tell, no, there's no Supreme Person, there's no Father, there's no God. But still, Krishna provides oxygen, Krishna provides water, Krishna provides earth to everybody. Why? Because in this verse, Krishna tells, the living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmented parts. Yes. So this is our connection, my dear friends, and also very applicable today, because today is International Yoga Day. Everybody is putting posts on yoga. Most of the people, my dear friends, and everybody thinks yoga means exercise. And everybody thinks yoga means becoming healthier, to have a better body, to enjoy the senses in a better way. But the very Sanskrit word yoga itself means addition. Yoga means addition. Addition between what? Addition between, or connection between, the spirit soul, who is the part, and Krishna, who is the whole. And that is the whole and sole purpose of yoga, my dear friends. Yes. What people do as yoga, which looks like severe exercise, actually, you know what is that? That is one path, one system called Ashtanga Yoga, which is given for the purpose of controlling the mind and senses so that a person can focus on worshipping our Supreme Father. So that works as a medium, or that works as a process for us to connect, to do a yoga, to get added to a spiritual life. Yeah. So on this day, International Yoga Day, it's very important for us to really understand the meaning of yoga and really become practitioners of yoga. Now, I'm not telling that practicing yoga just for the body is bad. That is very good. That is important. Many of our devotees whom I know, many of my friends do yoga every day and get a lot of benefits. But it's always said half knowledge is dangerous. So if you just do things knowing it half, you won't benefit fully from it. Yes. So the purpose, the goal of yoga is to connect the Supreme, to connect the spirit soul with the Supreme. In another verse, Krishna tells, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. Which he means, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So you see, Krishna is giving us the process, method by which we can connect to him, by which we can serve and worship. As spirit souls, part and parcels, we can connect with the whole. So he is giving us the method in Bhagavad Gita. So my dear friends, here at this point, we have reached the place where we would get introduced to the hero of our session today. And as the curtains open and we clap, here comes the hero of today's session. So those of you who have paid attention to the topic, the black god is what really matters. And we kind of close the loop here, coming to the point of knowing the black god. Well, you might be wondering, why do I keep referring to him as black god? Obviously to make it little sensational. And also, if you see in most of the ISKCON temples, there are black deities, black marble deities. And if you see Jagannath, if you go to Jagannath Puri, or if you see ISKCON Jagannath deities, they are painted black. Yes, so that's where the idea of black comes from. And there is a wonderful story. What happened once during Srila Prabhupada's times, the devotees had started one center, one temple in Africa, somewhere in Africa. And there were many devotees staying in the temple, and they were worshipping Radha Krishna. No, Krishna was black marble deity, and Srimati Radharani, as usual, white marble deity, was being worshipped in the temple. And you might know Africa always, there are many, many places in Africa which always goes through various difficulties, strives and attacks. You know? So these devotees were there in the temple, and one day suddenly a group of dacoits attacked the temple. And they had weapons, they were brandishing swords, threatening to kill the devotees. The devotees were trying to protect the deities, and they got the altar opened. And the leader of the dacoits came to the altar and he asked, "What is this? What are you doing? Who is this person?" And he pointed towards Krishna. And he said, "Who is this person?" And the devotees, very meekly and scared, they told, "He's our God. He is Krishna. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead." And the dacoit asked, "Who is this woman standing beside him?" The devotees told, she is Srimati Radharani, eternal consort of Krishna. She is the wife, she is our divine mother. And the leader of the dacoits said, "Oh, black god has white wife? Very good. You're practicing a good religion. We will leave you, will not do anything." And they left the place. So obviously, their understanding was quite on the bodily level. Whatever way, devotees got saved, and that's where this idea of black god came. However, as Srila Prabhupada explained to us in many places, he said, Krishna is black, but Krishna is not as black as you. So Krishna looks very beautiful. He has a wonderful complexion. And we'll go to Brahma Samhita, where Lord Brahma is explaining how Krishna looks, how beautiful he is, and what is actually the color of Krishna. So this is the verse, very beautiful. Brahma is telling, Venum kanantam aravinda dalayataksham barhavatam samashitam buddhashundarangam kandarpakotikamaniya vishesha shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So Brahma is telling, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept in playing on his flute, with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head decked with the peacock's feather, with a figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids. Brahma, who has seen Krishna himself in the Brahma Mohan Lila as well, is describing how beautiful the Lord looks. And he gives the color with a figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds. So now in Bangalore, for those of you here or in many parts of India where it's raining, you can see the dark monsoon clouds. Yes, that's how Krishna's bodily color is. And obviously he's very effulgent, a lot of glow. So that's exactly how bluish black he is. He is not black, like pitch black. Very beautiful bluish black color. And that's why he's known as Shyama Sundar. Another name of Krishna is Shyam Sundar. And he is the point of discussion today. And that's the topic. The black god is what really matters. In another verse in Brahma Samhita, Brahma also describes Alola Chandra Kalasadvana Malya Vamsi Ratnangadam Pranaya Keli Kala Vilasam Shyamam Trivangalalitam Niyata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Tells, I worship Govinda, the Prime Lord, around whose neck. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, 2 minutes. Sorry to interrupt, Prabhuji.
No problem.
Actually, Prabhuji, there is one devotee, Ankit Prabhu. He is leaving. Today is his birthday, Prabhuji. So he wants to take some well wishes and blessings from you. I just unmute him, Prabhuji.
Yes, yes.
I'll mute him.
Can we see him on video?
Yes, Prabhuji, I have on my video.
Hare Krishna, Ankit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Wish you a very, very happy Krishna conscious birthday.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
How old are you? You have muted yourself.
Just a minute, Prabhuji. I'll unmute.
Prabhuji, I am of 15 years now.
15, wonderful. And such a young age, you're attending our Prerana programs. I'm very, very inspired, because I started hearing Bhagavad Gita quite late after I joined college, and you at such a early age you're practicing. I'm very happy. So thank you for inspiring all of us.
No, Prabhuji, my brother has inspired me.
Good, good. Any message for all of us? How are you feeling? How happy are you learning from us?
I'm feeling very happy, and Lord Krishna have given me many blessings to do chanting, to pray for my family and for him, and to go to spiritual world.
Jai, Jai. Your goal is very clear. Yes. Thank you so much. You're very special, and I'm astonished that although on your birthday might be having many other plans, but you joined us. I'm very happy. Thank you so much. My sincere prayers to Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani that they shower their choicest blessings upon you. May you enjoy a prosperous and happy life, and may your birth as a human being be successful. Yes?
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Good. Nice. So can we return to our discussion?
Thank you, Prabhuji. I'm sorry to disturb you.
No problem. No problem. So yes. So there was this verse that we were discussing where Lord Brahma is telling, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, around whose neck is swinging a garland of flowers, beautified with a moon locket, whose two hands are adorned with a flute and jeweled ornaments, who always revels in pastimes of love, whose graceful threefold bending form of Shama Sundar is eternally manifest. So that's the description of Krishna's beauty. He is not as black as we are, because he is the supreme person. He is the source of everything that is beautiful in this world. Yes. And my dear friends, this is what is important. And that's why I said our connection, our knowledge about that supreme being, that black God, that Krishna is our supreme loving Father, is very, very important. Is the most important thing, and that is what really matters. We'll take a wonderful example that comes in the Shastras, the example of a tree. So many of you might have experience of planting a tree or gardening, growing some plants at your backyard or on the pots at your home. Yes, many of you might have experience. So let me ask you a quick question here. If you see the leaves of the tree that you have planted is drying up, has got dried, what would you do? You have two options. Option number one, You pour water on the leaves. Yes. And option number 2, you pour water to the root. So how many of you choose option number 1? You all can respond. Anybody who's choosing option number 1, and anybody is choosing option number 2? Yes, yes. I know all intelligent people are attending in this session. Nobody gets tricked by my questions. So yes, it is as simple and obvious that if the leaves are drying up, there is no point in pouring water on the leaves. The right option or the right obvious choice is to pour water into the roots. Similarly, as spirit souls, we are all like different leaves and branches and twigs, and we all have different problems, different differences. But to solve each of the differences individually, like attending all the circles that I drew earlier, is like watering the branches, leaves, twigs individually, which won't work, which won't solve the problem. Because the problem is not that we are not pouring water in the leaves. The problem, my dear friends, is we are not pouring water into the roots. Into the roots of our Krishna consciousness, into the roots of connecting ourselves to the Supreme Being. There is no time, energy being invested for us as spirit souls to connect with the spiritual whole or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So Krishna being the root, the source, the creator, the proprietor, the originator, nobody is spending much time in connecting with him, and nobody is pouring the water onto the roots. And that's why there are multiple problems across the branches. Yes, some leaves are drying out, somewhere there are malfunctioning. There are unlimited problems across the tree of the world because there is no water at the root. Yes. So my dear friends, that is why both these 2 points have to go hand in hand. Both these knowledges that we learned today is vital, is important. So thus we come to the main understanding of today. This is the most important part. You remember all those circles that we had drawn had different centers, and that's why, although they were valid, although everything matters, a Christian life matters, a Muslim life matters, Black lives matter, Indian lives matter, but because all the circles had different centers, there were conflicts, there were points of intersection. But my dear friends, through this session, if we can come to this conviction that if we place Krishna at the center, then all circles drawn around it, would there be any intersection point? Just think of it in this way. If Krishna is placed at the center, we may draw n number of circles. Black lives matter, white lives matter, Indians matter, Chinese matter, rich matters, poor matters, women matter, men matter. Everything practically matters. But here you see in this picture, there is no intersection, there is no conflict, there is unity amongst diversity because everything is centered around Krishna. And my dear friends, this is the vital lesson that we have to learn today and take home. That you may see, if you draw a circle keeping I, myself at the center, and you see my interest, my wife, my family, the neighbor has his interest, it's obvious that there would be conflicts. But when I see that I am spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna, and I have to serve Krishna and his parts and parcels. So I see my family are also spirit, soul, part and parcel of Krishna. And it is my service to them to take care of them. Similarly, the neighbor staying next door, in Christianity it is said, love thy neighbor like your own. But is it possible to love thy neighbor as your own if you don't see them as spiritual beings? Yes. Where does this all conflicts come into picture, my dear friends? All conflicts come into picture when there is bodily concept, when Krishna is not at the center. That is the very, very vital thing that we always have to keep in mind. Yes. If you see the story of Ramayana, now I would ask you some very simple questions. How many of you have heard of Ramayana? So I would ask you different characters from Ramayana and who they were. So have you heard of Jatayu? Who was Jatayu? Can somebody respond on the chat? Who was Jatayu? Yes, Nandish tells as a vulture, a bird of prey, huge bird, Jatayu. Who was Jambavan? Yes, Amit, he was Eagle King, he's a bird. Yes, Jatayu was a bird, a vulture. Yes. Who was Jambavan? The person who reminded Hanuman of his past. Yes, he was a bear. Correct, it's a bear. Who was Hanuman? Or Sugriva? Or Bali? Who were they? What race? Yes, they were Vanaras. Very powerful monkeys, not like the monkeys that we see nowadays. Huge, powerful monkeys from all over the world came. And you know who all helped Lord Ram in building the bridge? Do you know who all were engaged in building the bridge? What were the different personalities or different creatures who were involved in building the bridge, the Ram Setu? Do you know? Squirrels, yes. Vicky, thank you so much. Vicky is telling squirrels. Rahul is telling Vanaras, squirrels. Yes. You have heard of a spider. Yes. Jambavan was also there, a bear. Yes. Nala, Nila, yes. They were demigods who had designed the bridge, obviously. Eagles, yes, yes. So you see, what is the picture that Ramayana is showing us? How is it that all these people, in spite of all their differences, were working together? And this is, my dear friends, the same thing across all the scriptures. Yes. Just like the 5 fingers in the hand is not equal. The 5 Pandavas were not equal. They had different temperament, they had different strengths and weaknesses. Yes. But how could they always stay together? How could they always work together? Yes. Because you see in this slide, they always placed Krishna at the center, knowing themselves to be spirit souls, servant of the God. Same thing in Ramayana, same lesson. How was it possible that everybody was working together? No matter whether it's a squirrel, whether it's a giant bird, whether it's a monkey, whether it's a bear or any other species, even the spider. How was that unity in diversity possible? It was only possible because everybody had one goal in mind, that they wanted to please Lord Ram. They wanted to help Lord Ram find Mother Sita. They wanted Lord Ram to defeat Ravana. Everybody had one goal. And this one goal is only possible, my dear friends, when we place Krishna or God in the center of our lives. The moment we take out Krishna from the center of our lives and place ourselves, there will be so many ourselves and individual conflicts that will come into our life. Yes. So that is the vital point that we want to drive. And that's why I named the session, The Black God is What Really Matters. My dear friends, as I had quoted earlier, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Galihastani Suni Chaiva Sapage Pandita Samadarshina. To work together with one goal, to see everybody is equal, is not easy. unless we have this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, which tells we can't be equal at the bodily level. There would be differences, but we are equal because we are Satchidananda, spirit, souls, part and parcel of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada used to tell that in this United Nations, they call it United Nations, and in their headquarters, every year 1122 new flags are getting created. New flags are getting created means newer and newer countries are getting formed, and they're getting more and more divided instead of getting united. So why do they name it United Nations? They should just name differently. So they are not united. More and more division is happening. And Srila Prabhupada told us, how is universal brotherhood possible if we don't acknowledge the existence of universal Father? Yes. How can we have a universal brotherhood if we do not acknowledge a universal Father? Is that possible? And the moment we acknowledge that we are all children of God, that moment we are all united, my dear friends. And I was listening something very interesting, something in the same lines of what we are discussing today. And the quote was telling, Buddha was not a Buddhist. Lord Jesus Christ was not a Christian. And Muhammad Prophet was not a Muslim. Have you thought of that? But somewhere down the line, we became so distracted. We became so enamored by the bodily differences that we started thinking that anybody who wears a cross is a Christian. Anybody who wears a topi with a shaved mustache is a Muslim. And we got distracted. But Buddha, Jehovah, and Muhammad Prophet and Jesus Christ, and if you see Srila Prabhupada's teachings, it's pretty much the same. Very same. Some details may vary, but the principles are all same. Jesus said, we are son of God. O Father in heaven, be hallowed. Thy name be hallowed. It is said in the Bible. He's telling the same thing. Glorifying the name of the Lord. He refers to him as Father. The Muslims refer to him as Allah. And they refer to him as Father. Same concept. We are all children of God. Yes. And Bhagavad Gita gives all the details that we saw. The size of the soul. Very, very, very particular details is given in Bhagavad Gita. It's it's the origin of rather contemporary religions. So there is further details given in Bhagavad Gita. That's what we study. But yes, essential principles are same. So thus, my dear friends, please keep this in mind, that this is what will give the solution to deal with all the differences of the world. So we come to the close of today's session. We will summarize this. So quickly to summarize, the first thing that we started with is the differences and conflicts arise from bodily identification because there are differences. Bhagavad Gita teaches us that we are not these bodies but spirit souls, and seeing everyone as spiritual beings immediately resolves all the differences. And more important knowledge than that is knowing that we are spirit souls and we are part and parcel of Krishna unites us. We took the example of watering the root, which is equivalent analogy to loving and serving God and his children. And that's the formula of staying united. So yes, my dear friends, everything matters, but what really matters is Krishna and Krishna consciousness. So thank you very much. We come to the end of today's discussion. So we'll take some questions. As
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for such an enlightening session for us. Prabhuji, now we have one question. So far, we have only one question from a devotee. I'll just read it out. The question is by Abhishek Prabhu, which is actually asking that in today's session it was told that soul floats in something that exists in our heart, and when the heart is replaced, that the soul also gets changed. If not, then where does the soul exist in the time interval of replacing the heart?
Okay. So basically what is explained is, it is said region of the heart, and the soul is not. So the example is given as the heart is like the chair, you know. So if the chair is broken, what do? You just replace the chair, just like you do in replacing the heart. So in similar way, the soul exists in the body, in the region of the heart. It is not material, it's spiritual. So it is not like water inside a bottle. It is not contained, or it is not restricted within the heart. You know? So it's not that you change the heart and the soul goes with it. The soul stays in the region of the heart. Does that answer your question?
I guess it does, Prabhuji. Like there's another question. I'll just read it out. This question is asked by one devotee, Vicky. Prabhuji is asking, does solar eclipse have any effect on the human body as it is told to us since childhood?
Yes. I don't have the exact shastras ready, but yes, the astronomical position of planets have deep impact on us. And specifically this time during the solar eclipse is considered inauspicious. It has a inauspicious effect on our lives. We call it ashuch, or unclean time. You know, the time when the sun is covered, that time is the time where uncleanliness prevails. You know, so that's why we follow various standards, various things to clean ourselves just after the solar eclipse. So many places there's a tradition of going to the Ganges and taking bath, and not cooking, not eating, restraining from, you know. So if you think scientifically, yes, when there is darkness, there are germs, bacteria forming. But yes, we are affected in various ways, both in a material sense, in terms of cleanliness, and from the perspective that it has a astronomical influence in our bodies. So yes, what we were told, what we used to follow from our childhood, many a times are very, very logical and scientific. Even I used to see, I used to, in our childhood, if you remember, many of us used to go to the terrace and find out some X-ray sheet, or you know, some goggles, and try to see the sun, how the eclipse is coming. We used to have fun that way, because that time the scientific research would say that this is fine. But in today's news, even today, I saw that the research tells that it is not safe to look at the sun at that time, because there are various kind of radiations which come during a eclipse. You know, the sun gives out radiations in all the range. The gamma radiations come, the beta radiations come. So those radiations are not safe to look at with bare eyes, obviously, with any films that use. So that's even coming up in the modern day researches. Yeah? So yes, we can wait for research to come out and tell how inauspicious is a solar eclipse, or we can safely follow our traditions and what we have been taught for a long time, because many of those are really, really scientific, which are being proven now.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Those were the only two questions, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for answering all our questions, Prabhuji. I would like to thank Sanbaran Prabhuji, because he has given his valuable time and association to us. I would like to thank the ICC IYF South Bangalore group, and all the devotees who have helped in conducting these sessions. And finally, last but not the least, I would like to thank all the participants who have so enthusiastically participated in all our Prerana programs. Please keep showing us the same support. Like our Facebook page and Instagram page, the links have been put into the chat box. And please join our Prerana group for the latest update of all our Prerana programs. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.